So my name's Christian Shepherd. I am the co-founder of Big Voice Media Group, and we're here at the Australian Swimming Championships on the Gold Coast. So this is our first interaction with Amazon Prime as a production company, so there was quite an expectation of the product that we deliver, the image quality, the graphics, the production level in essence. So to meet that standard, we scaled up quite a bit from our standard swimming setups that we normally do with Swimming Australia. So for this production, total we're running 12 cameras. 6 of those 12 are BirdDog PTZ cameras, 3 P200s and 3 A200s. The A200s were probably the essential part we wanted for this event because it was an outdoor event. When you plan these events out, you have to plan for all weather types, and it's the Gold Coast, we're expecting sunshine, and as per normal, we were delivered 3 straight days of solid rain when we first started the event. So the A200s really earned their spot at the start of the event. Being able to operate as the rain was pouring, because the competition doesn't stop when it's raining. They still swim in the rain, everything still runs, so the cameras still have to run in that whole setup. So having the A200s, being able to clean the lenses mid-show without having to send someone around to go and do that, having anti-fog to be able to stop the lenses from fogging up, and the fact that they're just waterproof is just great. So for this event, we are a 60-40 production of 60% baseband SDI and 40% NDI. The NDI is being converted back to SDI for our switcher end, but the beauty about NDI is once it's in the network, we can route it to as many different destinations as we want. So when we've got TOs that require another feed, or they need help with judicial review or anything, we can route them a feed. Big screen is running off an NDI source that we can route whatever we want to the big screen without having to take up sources off our SDI desk. So the other setup here is we're set up ops on the western grandstand, but because we're facing east, we don't want any of the cameras facing into the sun, so all of our camera setup is actually on the eastern grandstand looking west. Now that threw in a bit of a distance equation with how we had to get all the camera feeds back and actually power everything that's sitting over on the eastern grandstand. So all the PTZs are power over Ethernet on the other side, and we're just bringing the signals back. So the NDI is really helping in actually transmitting that signal back there.
Well, it is that time again, everybody. Hope you are doing well. My name is BirdDog John, and I am back in action.
In those scenarios, it's good to neuralize the cameras. You guys know that best.
Very straightforward. Plug it in, go to the web UI, link the source, walk away. You know, like super simple. I keep looking over at the chat, and I keep seeing you are full of it. Tasty, spicy meat snacks. Covered in flavor. I mean, you can't go wrong. So what's going on? We've got a handful of folks here in the chat, and I really appreciate that. What's up, mate? Hey, Warren, how are you? Appreciate it. Hey, Robbie, how's it going, man? You're just talking about you. What's going on, Tom? Ahoy. How is it going? What's going on, Go Web? Good to see you again. Thanks for hanging out with us again today. Appreciate that. Feel like I'm in this video more than anyone but John. It's true, NetApp. You are, I'm going to cut this up and put this in the next intro. Yep. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by today, everybody. I am indeed BirdDog John, and back again for an exciting, riveting, what other words can we use? Anyways, we're back and ready to get going. Now, I've noticed that my P110, which is this little guy up here, is having issues autofocusing because I think there's a power restart. What is this all about? Get down. Get. All right. So I'll have to fix that in a second. That looks weird. This little camera needs to be set to manual focus because it keeps kind of changing. So yoink. Okay, manual, and then let's change it and dial it in. There we go. Okay, so now she's not going to move, I hope. All right, so let's go back to this. And hey, how's it going, everybody? Hopefully you're doing well and things are progressing nicely for you on this Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning. It's not quite afternoon yet, I guess, here in Michigan. But let's just try and tuck this wire in so that she stays put. And yes, that's a little more controlled. Get that going. And I didn't even get my phone. Oh, this isn't good. I don't have a device to monitor the show. So let me jump over to BirdDogJohn.tv, where all the fun stuff happens. Okay, so I can hear myself, so that's good. Hey, so we officially, I wish there was a way I can make this bigger, officially have a QR code that will take you over to the Google form to allow you to check in on a heat map. And we'll find out exactly where everybody's at. So today I've revamped the heat map and the way that I view it, because instead of instead of trying to do a whole bunch of fancy business and really losing out on the quality of it. So the issue that I was having the other day was that it seemed to be not very good quality. I was trying to like manipulate it inside vMix and do a bunch of stuff, and that just like was not working. So instead, we have just made it full screen on my secondary monitor. I'm just doing screen capture with that. And so there we are, folks. We got a couple people checked in. And as the show goes along, you'll be able to see, whoa, somebody's over in Melbourne. Who's in Melbourne? Whoever you are, check in. Send us a message. Always fun. It's a little late, isn't it? It's a little late for you over there. Let's see. It's only 1 a.m. in Melbourne right now. So, and that's exactly what the bumper says. The Snacks on Stream says it is now 1 a.m. in the morning in Melbourne, and that's exactly where I am. Well, that line. Oh, and my picture's in the way. Hold, please. So I want to see Melbourne. I want to see that one. It's obstructing. Didn't put that together before the show. So let's just manipulate that position real quick. And I believe it is considered number 2. Yes. And so I want to show all of Australia. I don't want them to feel like they're missing out. And so we'll just tuck me off to the side here. Maybe that's too much. You know what? The cool thing, vMix, shout out to vMix, they figured out how to use the third wheel on, I need to crop this a little bit more. They figured out how to use the third wheel so that you can really dial it in. And I love that. All right, there I am. So now we'll stick me over in the corner. There, now we can see all of Australia. The only one now that we can't see is, was that Papua New Guinea? No, Guinea's up top. What the heck is off the coast here? Anyways, there is one that's still under my image. I guess I could like move myself up to the top. If I get anybody that checks in on that island, I will 100% move my picture, but currently nobody. So, how is it that I don't know my basic geography, right? So let's correct that problem and just have a little quick look-see as to what it is that I'm missing. It's New Zealand. That's right. Right. Okay, because my brain went to Tasmania, and that's just south of Melbourne. But New Zealand is out in the Tasmanian Sea between Australia. So there's nobody in New Zealand checking in from the show that I know of. But if somebody does check in New Zealand, I will 100% correct that wrong. So there you go. All right, so the link is in the chat. It should be up on YouTube, both YouTubes and on Twitch. Of course, BirdDogJohn.tv is your home for everything this show. So feel free to go over there. Hey, for all of you who have been subscribing to that channel, I've been generating a bunch of content, and today will be no different. We are going to talk about BirdDog Play. But I've been generating content that's been scheduled, has been launched a little something every couple days. And that seems to have been working pretty well. What's the story here? Why isn't screen capture working? There are new dots on the screen that are not showing up in... Oh, there it goes. Okay, that's weird. Anyways, because I'm watching the show after the fact. Oh my gosh. All right, so it's Thursday, everybody. So everybody just hang on. It'll be okay. Now, so we are going to talk about BirdDog Play, and for those of you who have been subscribing to the show, somebody has, because we're up to like 237, 238, something like that. Let me jump over we'll give you the real-time stats right now. Mute. 238. So that is up big time from what it normally is, and so that's pretty cool. It's pretty great that you guys are following along, because that's a lot of fun. I really hate this legend, so I watched several tutorials on this, how to do this correctly, this heat map thing, and really, obviously, it just shows how many are in one place. So if somebody checks in from Detroit twice, okay, it will make all of the dots that are one small, and the one that's Detroit that has two, or whatever. Last week we had Sacramento, or on Tuesday we had Sacramento checked in twice. So, anyways, as the heat map evolves, we will see those changes in real time. But there it is. That's pretty cool that we can see where everybody's hanging out, checking in from. And the way you do that is just to scan the QR code. Now, let me know. So the alteration to the form this week was I imported a list of all the countries in the world, and I put them in a big giant long list. And that seems to help be very specific as to where people are from, because Google can take that information then and like locate you in the city, like put you in the general location. So that's been good, and I think that's creating some consistency here with the map. But let me know what you think of those changes. I'm always open to constructive criticism. Hey, where do we log in all the chickens? That's next week. Hey, what's going on, Jeremy? Welcome back to the show. And hey, NetHab, good to see you, man. Good morning. What's going on, MTash? So did you ever get a new or a used truck? I did, actually, and I parked it out front, so we could even see it today if we wanted to. How do I do this easily? I think I'll do it this way. I bought another F-150. It is a 2015, and pretty good, pretty nice, nicest vehicle I've ever owned. I say that all the time, but it 100% is nicer than anything I've ever owned. Now the issue is that I've got a P400 here. There we go. So let me cut this, and I'll put this up here for a second. Now this P400 is running in low latency mode, so bear with me here, folks. But this is currently the truck sitting out in the drive. So yeah, nicest vehicle I've ever had. It has a sun/moon roof, which my kids absolutely love. When I asked them, what type of vehicle do you want me to buy? My daughter was like, something with a moon roof. And I was like, okay, what color? And she's like, not white. And I was like, okay, if it was a white truck with a moon roof, would you want that? And she's like, yes. I was like, okay. So I hit all of her requirements. She's 9. And that, I guess, is what was most important in life. So there you go. I'll jump back over here to the heat map so you guys can see what it is that we're looking at here. Let me go. Where are we here? Oh yeah, back to the comments. Okay, so I did get a new truck. It's new to me. It is used. But hey, did you want us to do the heat map every time we join, or just once? So I'm gonna refresh this every time, because it's kind of nice to see where everybody's watching from in real time. So every time I'm gonna try and generate this. Takes a little bit of prep work, which I don't particularly care for, because I'm not great with prep work. But yeah, hopefully we can run this every time, and it's fun to see where everybody's checking in. We'll do this at the beginning of the show, and we'll check in again a little later. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Is the mic quieter than normal? I didn't change anything on the microphone side, but it is possible. Let me know how you guys are hearing things on your end. If the microphone sounds quiet, it does sound a little quiet according. So I can easily change that. And it may just be here. Okay, I've turned it up a little bit. Let me know if that's too much or not enough. Maybe I'll get up on the microphone too. But Yeah, at Frink. Yes, it's a little quiet. Okay, let me know if that's any better. And that's in Australia. It's probably Eamon with the baby. Very likely, he is more than likely still awake. Hey, I just got home from a gig. You're referring to is New Zealand. That would be New Zealand. Yes, I'm in Melbourne, by the way. Oh, there you go, Josh. So, are you the check-in from Melbourne? That's you. Well done. Is it Samoa? No, it was not Samoa. It was New Zealand. I'm watching from Estonia. That's cool. The form requires a Google account to work. It does? Seriously? Hold the phone. Let me just go here real quick. That's not true. That shouldn't be the case. No, I can open this. Oh. To fill out the form, you must be to identify. Your identity will remain nameless. Why? Why do you have to have a Google account? That's not good. I don't want that. So over to settings. Why is that that's not a Google Forms requirement, is it? Send responder a copy there. No. Allow editing. Presentation. Form defaults. Don't collect addresses. Is there any way to just allow anybody to fill it out? Anyone with the link should be able. Oh, maybe it's in the sharing settings. Sharing. Include. Nope. Yeah, that's very interesting. Interesting indeed. Nuts. I don't want that. So I'll figure that out because I want everybody to be able to see it and not need to have a Google account. So we will definitely check that out. Do you find, so is it fairly easy to like navigate? It's all alphabetized, right? A lot of you are from the US, from the UK, or actually all of you are from the US, UK, or Australia. So maybe I put those three at the top. So it's quick for you to grab those and then just list everything else underneath. That would be possible. But yeah, let me know if we can make that any easier for you. Good stuff. I have an overheating tablet. Would you look at that? Oh yeah. Would you look at that? Yes, great reference. Thank you, Jeremy. He's just really off axis today. I don't know. Is that an insult? Is that supposed to be mean? Audio's good for me. That's my check-in from Melbourne. Well, welcome to the show, Josh. Why are you still awake? I'm on a train in France. Hey, Tony, what's going on? On a train in France. I think there's a lot of people on trains in France, but thanks for checking in anyways. That's pretty cool. Pretty neat that you can check in from France on a train.
That's pretty neat.
If you set the form to limit to one response, it will require a sign-in. All right. All right, people. I'm going to trust you to not abuse the form. Good to know, Josh. See? That's why I need you to check in from Melbourne at 1 a.m. in the morning. Hello over there on LinkedIn. Sophian, is that how that's said? Probably not. Really sorry for butchering the name, but hello. Welcome to the show. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, checking in from South Africa, Johannesburg. Hey, if you follow the QR code in the top of the screen here, you'll be able to check in on my little heat map here, which is what we're generating right now. So, time to log in all the chickens then. Thanks. I appreciate that. Thanks for not abusing it. Although I can alter the form myself, so that's I can erase answers, which is if it really gets going sideways, we can adjust that. Anyways, cool stuff. So there's the heat map, and if you scan in, we're getting even more people. So if you scan in, there's our friend in France. Then you'll show up. You'll get a little dot on the screen, and I love this. I love finding out where you guys are checking in from. So thanks for letting us know. And again, that's what that QR code is at the top of the screen. It is a little Google form that will allow you to let me know where you're at, and you'll show up here on my screen. Okay, so we're caught up in the chat, which is rare, and we are going to jump over here to the main show. And I do want to spend a little time today talking about play. That is what the title is. And I had some comments on Facebook, I think, about, interesting that you're going to do a thing on play. Is this an announcement? As a general rule, for those of you who regularly tune into the show, I don't do announcements on this show, mostly because that's done through a marketing strategic plan, and that's not a part of our that's not a part of the function of this show. This show is to provide you with basically how-to stuff from start to finish, how to get it set up, how to plug it in, what to expect, what's considered normal and what isn't. The products, not me. I'm by far not considered normal. But yes, it'll allow you to kind of get a general idea. And then I'm using that content, if you've been paying attention, I've been using that content to publish it on my YouTube page so that that information is quick and handy. And then we're also linking it inside the knowledge database and doing some of the Google SEO, Google search engine optimization stuff. And so if you type in on Google, hey, how do I set up a BirdDog play? Hopefully this video that we're about to make today will appear in a Google search. So we have been working some of that, playing around with some of it. It's actually pretty straightforward with the way that we manage our knowledge database. But we've been talking about changing the way we group the database because it's a giant behemoth of information, and it's all in there. But how does the user get to it? That conversation has been, is it just all put in a big pile and you say, just go ahead and search for it? Or do you break it up into subcategories, which is what it is right now? And so you can go to camera, you can go to products, cameras, P100, and you can see all the stuff that we've posted specifically about that camera. And then the generalization information's under the FAQs. Is that how we want to do it? I don't know. So there are multiple ways to skin this cat, but I think, honestly, the quickest and easiest way is probably to do a search engine optimization for it and allow you just to Google search for it on our knowledge database. So we're working on that, trying to get some resources there. We're also working on, this stinking earpiece that keeps falling over. So annoying. I don't like how loose it is. So usually I feed it down my shirt and it's not loose, but today I just tossed it over my back. Man, I'll never do that again. I think the easier way for you is to use the power of Google and just allow it to do the searching, and then we can kind of go from there. You can find your own, stuff that way. So, all right, now I made this thing too tight. Oh my goodness, you can't get it right. Next time, I'll feed it down the wardrobe and we'll fix all this issue. Hey, I've been looking at getting a fair number of play devices the next few months, so I'm keen to see them in action. All right, well, we can definitely do that. And I can share some of this. I'm going to use the 110 to kind of show my setup a little bit behind the scenes to give you an idea. But I will switch over to doing that whole session. And during that, I typically don't take a lot of questions, but feel free to put your questions in the chat. And then after I'm done the actual overview of the product, then I'll be happy to go through and answer all your questions. So, and if we take a quick look over here at the heat map, we've got a few more check-ins. So check-ins around the globe, so that's really cool. That's pretty neat, and how neat is that? It's pretty neat. So love it. Thanks for playing along, everybody. And that is this little QR code at the top of the screen. That is what that is for. So be sure that you join us. Scan that QR code. There's also a link in the original chat that I put in at the beginning of the show, so I don't know if you can see that still or not. Now, for this video, I'm going to turn off the QR code, and then I'll put it up again at the end. So, all right, let's get ready to do this one. Ooh, and there's also snacks on stream later today. So if you're around for that sideshow, there you go. We've got some beef jerky and they're both fiery habanero. So we might see John lose his cool, literally, on stream. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun for everybody. Probably not me. So. There you go. All right, let me get set up here for this next little segment. I just want to move the P110 camera, this one, into a different position so that you guys can see what is happening. Go this way, please. So I have a play. I mean, full disclosure, I have a play here in the office that is acting as my confidence monitor. And so I'm sending, well, I'll talk about that whole workflow inside the actual show itself. But yeah, we'll demonstrate some of that. And then I will show the web UI for this. So let's get that set up before we go live on that. Before we go recording on that. We are live. Like this. Perfect. Okay. I think we're good to go. That shot's not super bright, but it's going to have to do. Okay. I will double check the chat real quick. Okay, cool. All right. Let's do this. Okay, so today we want to talk about BirdDog Play and kind of the use case and how BirdDog envisions it being used. It definitely is different than the other decoding devices that BirdDog makes. And there's some key differences that you should know. You probably see them already on the BirdDog website at birddog.tv. But today I want to just demonstrate, kind of go through the web UI, get you used to that, show you kind of it in a use case scenario, and a couple other things that we're doing in the office that are also, other ways that we're using the product. So Play essentially is a very lightweight, inexpensive device that allows you to show an NDI stream on your network. And it's able to take various forms of NDI, which is kind of a first for BirdDog, but also it's a very small form factor. Now, there's a couple of things that in order to keep the price as low as we did and to make it as kind of versatile as we could, we've had to obviously make some changes. So there's no LED screen on the device, for example. It doesn't have an LED screen to show you IP address or anything like that, like many of our second generation products have, including the 4K family and our cameras, for example. So the P240, the P110, all those types of cameras have little screens on them. This one does not. This one also doesn't have PoE, and so that is a common misconception that people have about these is, all BirdDog products have PoE on board. This particular product did not. And again, the PoE module is, from the manufacturing realm, is more money, a little more expensive to integrate, generates a lot of heat. And so there are some big factors that happen when you have to add PoE onto the device. Now, would it have been nice to make that, to have that as a secondary option or like a version 2 or something like that? Perhaps. And our goal was to make this as lightweight and as inexpensive as possible. Well, that's one of the goals. And so we really wanted to, that was one of the objectives with this, with this first launch, was we wanted to make sure that it was lightweight. So what do you do? How do you kind of get it started? Well, the idea was that it would be USB powered. And you might think, wait, now I have to have a USB brick to plug this thing into? No. Most modern TVs have a USB port or multiples on the back of the TV. And for some televisions, you need to look this up for your particular TV. But for some televisions, it's just mostly a firmware update thing. For others, you can plug in media to it. You can put pictures, you put a whole bunch of JPEGs or whatever on a USB stick and plug it in. And then you can watch or look at those pictures on that television. Now, it's kind of a clunky way to do this. There's way more innovative ways to look at photos. But, there you go. That's one of the functions. One of the key things that you need to know about that USB port on the back of your TV, though, is how many amps it's going to give or how many volts it's going to give. You need to know the technical specs for that USB. And the good news is for the most part, most modern televisions have their user manuals online, and you can just type in the model number, which will be some ridiculous string of letters and numbers, and pull it up, on the website. And then you can find out kind of what the actual power outage is on that particular USB. What it needs to be is 1.2 or better, okay? If it's just 1, that's going to actually underpower the unit and probably cause performance issues. Now, it's not a hard and fast rule because here, full disclosure, we haven't tested every TV there is. And so we've tested a lot of TVs. We have multiples in the HQ office. I purposely buy different brands and different sizes of TVs in this office. And so we've got a handful of TVs in here. I think there's at least 5 in this office, 3 Samsungs, an LG, and a Sony. And then we've got all sorts of monitors, right? So some monitors, modern day monitors, can dual as a TV. And so you can actually plug in the actual play unit to the USB port. So it's USB-C, and in the box comes a USB-C to USB-A cable. And that needs to plug into, I believe it's a 1.2 amp USB port, and then you can power up the device that way. And when you properly power up the device, you'll see a little green light turn on inside the actual front face of the device. Now, another thing that you should know is the power should be added last, okay? Because a couple things are going to happen here. You want to plug in your network, okay? So your network cable, it's still one cable coming to the device. And then you want to plug in your HDMI to the TV. And then you want to power the unit because you want the device to power on and request a DHCP address from your properly configured NDI network to actually issue it an IP address when it first boots up. It needs to be ready to do that. So if you power it on and then you plug in your HDMI and then you plug in your network, it may miss the window to issue an IP address and might fall back to 100.100, which is currently, as of 2023, is the default fallback address for this device. All right. Now, this is also a great opportunity to just briefly talk about the differences between assigning static IP addresses and doing DHCP reservations. There are lots of theories about which you should do, okay? The first is static IP addresses. You can, I've heard integrators say, I like to have static IP addresses for all my AV devices because then I can fill them out on a spreadsheet. I put in the IP address, I put in their MAC address, and I put in where they're at and what the password is, and I can make a big master documentation. So when I'm done with the install, I hand it over to the person that wants me to do this install, and I can say, here you go. Here's all the information you need. That's great. However, if you need to take one of those devices off of the network, have it serviced, take it somewhere else, put it on a different network, you've got to go into this device and now customize it. Whereas if you had a DHCP reservation list, it wouldn't matter if you remove the device from the network or not. It will always be issued the same IP address every time you join it. And the way you do that is you go into the actual DHCP service on your network, which is a little more sophistication, but it's not scary, okay? If you can type in the word youtube.com, you can figure out how to do this. But you can fill out the DHCP reservation list on your networking side. This means that you don't have to individually log into every single one of these. You just have to power cycle it. So you can put in the MAC address in the DHCP list, and then you put in the desired IP address, and then you reboot the device. And your DHCP will see this come on and request an IP address, and then it will give it the IP address that you specify on the list. Again, the nice thing is like maybe I got to take this off and I need to use it somewhere else. Well, now you can take it to another NDI network that's running a DHCP and plug it in, and it will get an IP address. You don't have to go in and change it. Or maybe you need to send it in and have it serviced. Well, now we don't have to go back and forth with you about whether or not what's the IP range, where is this device, what's its short name, give us something to help us service it. You can just ship it to us as is. We can plug it into our network here in the service department and re-image it or fix it or do whatever we need to do and send it back to you. And then when you re-add it to your network, the DHCP already knows that MAC address and boom, assigns it that same IP address that you already had. What I like about the DHCP reservation, if you haven't figured it out already, but by the tone of my voice, what I like about that in an AV situation is you can take devices on and off networks and you centralize all of that customization. So it's all in one place. And modern day DHCP services will allow you to export all of that information. So not only can you go in and you can customize everything and you can give one login and all that information is in one place in the DHCP service, but also then you can export all of that and keep it off site, right? Put it in your Google Drive. And so when the customer calls you and says, hey, we just had a catastrophic failure and our entire server just went up in flames, then you can roll up and say, no problem, and you import your settings, everything's done, okay? It is way less work. It's the same amount of work to set it up static as it is DHCP reservation, but long-term support how long it's going to take you to service that account will be a whole lot shorter. I promise you. So I'm an advocate of the DHCP reservation list for multiple reasons. As you know, static networks they're not easier, they're harder, they require more customization. And so if I can make your life a little bit easier, I would strongly recommend that. Okay, now back to the BirdDog Play. Okay, so the Play then, we've plugged in our HDMI, we plug in our network, and then we power it up with the USB-C. Pro tip, this is why you tune into the show or why you're watching this video post. The pro tip is you can buy, okay, on Amazon for less than $15, or if you want to buy the expensive one, it's $20. You can buy PoE splitters that will split the power over Ethernet that's coming over your network that you've already got. I already invested in good switches, 4250s. I've already invested in great AV switches that supply PoE. I can use something called a PoE splitter, okay, not an injector, a PoE splitter, and that will output the power from the PoE switch to a DC jack. And I've actually done this. I'm doing it right now in my office as a test. But I use just a little PoE splitter, and then I plug in the DC jack, and that's a DC to USB-C little jumper cable. And then I can turn these into PoE powered. So I still only need one cable. And I don't have to use the USB power. And the expensive one, the PoE splitter, the expensive one allows you to do 12 volts, 9 volts, or 5 volts. So I just switch it to 5 volts, plug it in, and away I go. It has been operating beautifully for the past 3 weeks. So pro tip, that's why you would do that. Okay, we plug those 3 things in, and then our device boots up. Now, the cool thing about BirdDog Play, shout out to the engineers on this, is that the BirdDog Play shows the BirdDog logo when it fully boots up, and it tells you in large, friendly numbers, what the IP address is. Shout out to Douglas Adams. Large, friendly numbers on the screen what the IP address is. And if your DHCP reservation is working correctly, it will show it correctly on the screen. So boom, checks and balance, that's working correctly. So now we can punch in that IP address on a computer. And if you type like this, I'm sorry for you, but you could type it in and go to Chrome, type in the IP address that's showing up on the screen, just straight, just 192.168.1 dot whatever it is or whatever you set it as. Okay, and then it's going to take you to the web UI. And so we're going to boot up and it's going to look like this or something very similar to this. And this is the Play that I'm using in this show right now live. Okay, I'm using a Play as my confidence monitor. And so I've got a whole bunch, I've got a grid. I'll talk about this, how this is configured in a minute so you can kind of get an idea as to a use case as to what you might do with this. But here is the web UI for this BirdDog Play. And so currently running at 25% CPU, which is amazing. That's amazing. And it's using 7% of the network. Now, before you get into the mathematics, well, that means he's using 70 megs, or that means he's doing that. Just calm. This is not a real-time millisecond grade monitoring system. It's doing, I think, 1 check every second. So it's a great, to see if something's wrong or it's overheating or it's having issues. But in general, it's taking a snapshot every second or every 2 seconds. I forget exactly what it was. And it's showing it here on the web UI, much like all BirdDog devices, right? So that's how you think about this. But the dashboard, I'm not even logged in here, but the dashboard gives me great, useful information about what's going on with the Play. So it tells me what stream name I'm connected to. And if you're good at reading this little code here, you'll know that this is Multiviewer Pro for Mac. I'm running Multiviewer Pro for Mac. That's what I'm showing. The format is just straight up full NDI. If you're sending a Play an HX signal, it will actually indicate HX. Really cool. Glad that that's there. That's why you would do that, because, I am running an HX signal, and that's why my network bandwidth is like 3%. The audio status, as at time of recording, this is just always going to say mute. Okay, so don't get too confused here, but that's always going to say mute. But then the useful information here, I'm not sending it audio, so that just is not available. But I am running in multicast, and that's actually a setting that I've set on the Play itself. All right, so I'm running in multicast. It's 1080. Okay, that's what we would say. It's 1920 by 1080, but it's 1080, and it's running at 30 frames. Now, I'm running a progressive stream here because that's what Multiviewer is outputting, but I'm running 1080p 30, and the video sample size is 422. All right, so it gives me all that data. Now the audio, I'm not sending it audio, and so that's irrelevant at this point. I haven't put an audio stream on there, but it's not active. The system name is the MDNS short name that you would use to get to this device. And so let's open up Chrome one more time. And I'm going to type in BirdDog-play1 1.local / and if I hit enter on that, whoops, I hit shift. If I hit enter on that, puts me back to the dashboard, okay? This is the name that the BirdDog Play has tried to register with the MDNS. And if it did it correctly, you should be able to use the short name to get to it. So if you have plays, one in every room or in the hallway, and you've got one in the west and one in the east halls, and you call it BirdDog-West, BirdDog-East, okay, you go to your web UI and you type in BirdDog-West.local / and hit enter. It'll take you to the web UI. This means that when the play is doing something, you don't need to know its IP address, because you, as the installer or the designer, know, oh, that's the West play, so we'll just type in BirdDog-West. It doesn't matter what the IP address is. It will take me to the dashboard. And then I can find out, oh, it's got a 1.191, which is also displayed here on the dashboard, right? And it tells us what firmware we're running. Now, this is a beta firmware, so don't mind that. But this is firmware 20 is how we talk about that at the BirdDog, in the BirdDog world. So we're running what firmware we're running. Is it working? So this is an important status. If this is saying inactive, or it's flashing active, inactive, or doing anything other than just showing active full time, you know something's up, okay? So you know that there's a malfunction of some sort. It's not getting the NDI signal, or having a networking issue, or the play might be malfunctioning. Something's up, all right? So that's a really important thing to know. And the other important thing to know is to do full NDI, you have to have a gig network connection. And so this thing will tell you, it'll tell your network what speed it's running at. And we have seen blips on the radar where some plays check in at 100. So verify, if you're having performance issues, verify that your network is able to send it 1 gig speeds, and verify that the port on the switch that the play is plugged into is set to full duplex 1 gig or higher. Okay, this will negotiate down to 1 gig, but if your switch is throttling down or having some sort of issue with the auto detect and it's only sending it 100, you're not going to be able to do full NDI. Why? Because most full NDI sources are going to be over 100 megs, right? So you're going to cap out. That'll be your bottleneck. So the network speed is really helpful information to have on the dashboard. And again, big shout out to the engineers here for doing this and making this available. You don't even need to log in. You can just see this information for yourself, okay? So really helpful. And of course, here on the support show, I have my whole network as DHCP, as I believe is the way the Lord intended it. Okay, so this is the take that for what it's worth. All right, so let's go ahead and log in. And we just type in our super secret password. And by the way, pro tip here, it's always BirdDog, lowercase, all one word, because BirdDog is one word for this company, but it's all lowercase. The default password is BirdDog. If you're in a non-secure location, you might consider changing it, but please write that down in the documentation, okay, that you're making. Write down what the password is, because it's really frustrating when we get your customers contacting BirdDog support and they're like, Joe Schmo set this up and I don't know what he set the passwords at. It's like, ugh. Did he give you any documentation? He's like, well, he did, but he didn't tell us what the passwords are. If you're going to change the password, please include that on the master documentation so that the person knows what it is that you set it at. Okay, so I logged in, and it bumped me right back to the dashboard. And the dashboard is a really helpful place, because when you log in, you're given 2 more options, which you've already noticed here. We have a device restart, and we have a system reboot. Now, my face is over the reboot button, but it just says reboot. Okay, you can trust me on that. And if I hit restart, the device restart button actually restarts the NDI function of the device. Okay, so if I hit restart, it's going to pause my NDI stream. It's going to reboot that NDI function. Okay, there's a process that's happening behind the scenes. And what it does is it kills that function and restarts it. Okay. If I hit reboot, it's going to put the device back into a full-on boot from beginning, okay? Start over, re-request an IP, do all of that. So if I hit reboot, it's going to be a different thing than hitting device restart. Device restart, another way to think of it is NDI restart, okay? That's another way I like to think about it is if I need to restart my NDI stream, and I need to restart the processes that are decoding the NDI stream, device restart is a quick way to do that without having to reboot the whole thing and wait for the 1.5-minute boot up sequence to happen, okay? So that is overall the gist of the dashboard when you log in. Now, next screen is network, and we've done this ad nauseum with a lot of our products, but I want to be sure that we go over this. If for some reason you have to set this up as static and you don't have the luxury of doing it properly on a DHCP reservation list, this is where you could change these functions. Now, if, for example, you needed to run static, you know the rule. You need to probably set up a discovery server to do the MDNS function, because that's kind of it's hard for me to say required, but it's pretty much required for static setup, okay? So if you're going to run static, you need to be running Discovery Server. Well, this is the screen where you'd set all that up. Okay, so we can switch it to static, and we can assign an IP address. We really want to keep the rule, okay, the single subnet. That's really not what it's called, but it's a WAC 224 subnet. We want to set up our network, our NDI networks, to be a 22255 subnet mask, okay? So that means you get 256 addresses. And if you're doing more than that, you're probably looking at a more sophisticated network anyways. Okay, so 22255 is great for those of you who are doing 200 devices or less. And that is a massive, massive amount of NDI, all right? And if you're running 200 NDI sources and decoders, a combination of whatever, you're going to be talking multicast anyways. And so, you know, this should be enough for those of you who are just getting started with BirdDog Play. It needs to be done in DHCP, and you need to have a 22255 network. And then you absolutely have to have a gateway address. Okay? In the static realm, in the AV world, a gateway address is generally not required. It is with NDI. Okay? You heard it here first. It is with NDI, and you need to have that as a part of this. Don't leave that blank. It's going to cause problems. If you don't have a default gateway address, then it needs to be a Windows PC on the network. Okay, set that as your static IP address, or as your default gateway. And the reason why is because Windows actually does this function on its own, regardless if it's in static or not. It does network discovery because it's finding out, hey, like who's who. It does a little snooping around on the network to find out where everybody is. And so a Windows computer can act as your gateway as a reference to how to navigate the network. That's one of the functions of the gateway itself, is to kind of give direction as to, oh, you want to go from that port to this port on the network? Well, here's how you do it. And it can like lay out Windows PCs also do that for themselves to find out what's the fastest way to accomplish my job. And we can utilize that a little bit by pointing these devices at a Windows PC. So pro tip, you're not going to find that anywhere else, by the way, just right here, birddogjohn.tv. So check that out. All right. So we set up our static address here if that's what we need to do. If you have a slow or older DHCP, you can change the timeout. Now, I caution you, okay, deviating from the expected. If you change this from 20 to 40, you're going to notice the IP acquisition and boot up times of a device greatly increase, okay? So if you have a slow DHCP, or it's like on the other side of your campus and it's going to take a while for that ping request to make it all the way down the chain, all right, you might consider increasing the DHCP timeout, because that will give the chip longer. It'll stay open and awake and broadcasting longer, asking for an address. But that's becoming less and less of a requirement as technology gets to the place that it's going, and whatever that is. And anyway, sorry, my brain. So increasing that's why you would do that. If you've got a massive infrastructure, or an older, slower, maybe your DHCP service is operating on a server that's really slow, like a Windows 2012, something like that it has low RAM and memory. Like, anyways, if it's just slow, you might consider doing something like that. DHCP fallback address. I strongly, strongly encourage you not to change this. And here's the theory. People say, why wouldn't I change that to the desired IP I want, and then I can just put it in DHCP but not have a DHCP, and then I'll always fall back to that address. Okay, I see your logic there, but this is really supposed to be considered more of a service address. If something goes wrong and the device goes to 100, you know something is wrong. But if something goes wrong and the thing falls back always to the address that it's supposed to be at, you don't know where it's failing. You just don't know. And so this should really be a fallback address that's unique, and that if you walk by and you see 100, 100 on the screen, you know, hey, something's wrong. Something's wrong with the network. Something's wrong with the device. Something is wrong because it's getting a 100, 100 address. So I strongly recommend you not changing it. And in the same breath, I strongly recommend that you design your networks not with the 192.168.100 number. Because if you build a network that's 192.168.100 dot something, again, something might take 100, 100 because it's a valid license. It's a valid address. So my network, take a look at this screen, okay? 192.168.1 dot. Okay, so if I see a 100 address on any of my networks, I've got multiples in this office, by the way. If I see 100, 100 on anything, I know something's wrong here. Something's wrong. This is failing because it's getting a 100 address, and 100 is not in my realm. So, pro tip, don't design your DHCP networks to be 100 networks. Leave that as a unique address on the BirdDog devices and pick 192.168.99 or 101 or 192.168.1. You can use that one. I'll give you permission. It's not exclusive for me. Make it something unique. Pick your favorite number between 1 and 250. Pick your favorite number and put it in that third octet, 192.168. But just don't pick 100 because that will make things confusing for you and your customer. It'll be one more thing that you have to learn. Oh, is it getting the 100, 100 address from the DHCP or is it malfunctioning, right? Don't use 100. Use something else. Just, there you go. Anyways, we won't go down that realm. Okay, and then the fallback, this should never be changed either, by the way. This should always be 22255 in the DHCP fallback subnet mask. Leave that as is. Now, remember when I used BirdDog-play1.local to get into this web UI? Well, this is where you would change that. This is the short name that gets registered with the IP address on the MDNS on your network. Okay, so either your MDNS through the DHCP or Discovery Server. This is where that short name gets registered. So when I call that name on a browser on Chrome, and I type in BirdDog-play1.local /, okay, remember that /. When I type that in, it takes me to this site. And if you've noticed up here in the top of this, it actually leaves it there. It doesn't replace it with the IP address, which I think is a little interesting, but it leaves it there. Well, what's great is if you know the short names of your devices, say you have a dozen, and they're in order, and you just say like play 1, play 2, play 3, play 4, play 5, and like you go down the line. The beautiful thing about it is that you don't have to remember IP addresses. You don't even really need them documented. You can just say, oh, this is the third one, so BirdDog-play3.local / enter. And it'll take you to the web UI for that device. So if you're having issues or you want to change the source or whatever, that's an easy way to do it. Now, when you make changes on this screen, you have to hit apply. Okay, and it will apply it to the board, but be cautioned that you're using Google Chrome, which has cookies and cache. Okay, and it may show you the previous information. So the way that you would double check it is to actually open this in a different link. And so if I were to open this tab now, copy and paste, it will show me the corrected information here on a new browser. Or you could do it in incognito mode, which doesn't remember anything and it loads it for the first time every time. That's another great way to make sure that your changes have gone through. All right. Finally on this screen, the network settings. This is where you would change it from TCP or RUDP, which is kind of the default out of the box, to multicast. So if you're running a multicast network, a 4250 with an NDI5 profile, for example, you could run this thing in multicast. And I actually am. And so I've selected multicast here. I am not running Discovery Server because I have an MDNS and I have a DHCP. So I don't select that. But you could turn Discovery Server on. And then this is where you would put that Discovery Server IP address in there. Now, if you don't know about Discovery Server, I've got videos about that on my channel. So be sure that you check that out. And then again, when you make changes, hit apply. Be sure you hit apply. You'll see the screen kind of flash. And that's basically just the refresh. Okay, System tab. This is really easy. And if you're familiar with BirdDog stuff already, you already know where I'm going with this. This is where you change the password for that login screen. So you put in the current password, which by default is BirdDog all lowercase. And then you put in your new password. And then you have to confirm it again. Okay, so that you can't fat finger it. And you can even show it. So if I wanted to type in like BirdDog John play, and I want that to be the thing, I could just show it here to to make sure that, whoops, LastPass, get out of here, so that I could show it on both. So, BirdDog John play. And then I want to verify that that is indeed what it is that, yep, they match. Okay, cool. Then when I hit apply, then I'm good to go. But we do require you to confirm the password, because we get a lot of people that are like, oh, I pressed the wrong button and hit apply, and now I didn't realize that that's what, that now I'm locked out of my device, right? Okay, system update is where you would download the firmware and update to the latest firmware. So you're going to go to the BirdDog downloads website. You're going to download the .fw file, and then you're going to click on System Update. You're going to select that .fw file, not a zip file. You're going to select the .fw file, load it into that little container, hit upload, and then it should do its own sequence on its own. So that's where you do firmware updates. This system reboot button is the same one that's on the dashboard. Okay, this reboots the whole unit and puts you through an entire cycle. It is not an NDI restart. It is a full unit reboot, okay? Access Manager configuration. If you wanted this device to see sources that were on a different subnet, and I have videos on this, okay, on Access Manager. We've covered this before, but this is where you put that list. And what's really cool is when you click Save, it downloads the configuration text file that you need to use to do this. And so it gives you the formatting that you need when you download it. So it's like, oh, well, I know that I have a device at 45, and I know that I have another device at 215. And then you would save, okay? And then you would load that file here and then hit upload. And if I load that file correctly, let's just give it a go. Upload. If I do it correctly, those numbers should show in this list. Look, 45 and 215. That's how it's done. All right? You heard it here first. The same thing goes for the NDI list, okay? Same thing is you can download the NDI list, the group name list, and it will tell you what the group name list needs to be. And so I could put this, I don't want to add this to a group, but I could put in my group there, load it into this container and hit upload. And if I do it correctly, it will show on that list. Okay? So that's how that's done. All right, easy peasy. The next is the AV screen. And this, thankfully, it just being a decoder makes this really straightforward. Okay? So the first thing is the HDMI timeout. How long this thing waits around for a signal. You can time it out if you want. I don't really find that necessary at all. Or there is also an OSD, an on-screen display that you use with CEC. We can go into that in deeper depth, but we're actually doing a fair bit of changes with those, so I won't cover that here in this video. But you can disable that on-screen display with CEC from here if you want to. And then, and that HDMI timeout, I believe that's the timeout for that screen. And then you have to do a device, if you make changes, you need to do a device restart. Now remember, that's just the NDI restart, so it's a quick little refresh of the NDI stream. Okay, this is where it really counts, though, and this is where these are the major functions here. NDI audio, you remember on the dashboard how I said there's kind of a glitch where it says mute? Well, my audio is active. If I send this thing audio, it should play the audio. However, we can permanently mute this if I never want it to play the audio that's going out on the stream. And a great example is my vMix output has my microphone audio married to it, and I'm sending that over NDI to StreamYard. But if I want to watch the show, that same stream on my confidence monitor, but I don't want my TV to play the audio, I can mute it. And then I can add that, I could put the output to this screen and I could watch it that way. Now, this is where you select that source. But remember, like all BirdDog devices, you need to refresh the source list, okay? Do that 2 or 3 times and then open that list. And here are all my active sources that are happening on my network. Now, if you load it and you get list after list after list, and it seems like old sources are still there, you can hit this reset button. And the reset button will dump all of those sources that it used to have, okay, in the actual memory, and then you can hit refresh, and it will actually then pull a new list of just the sources, okay? So that's a much shorter list than what I had. I had double lists before, and now I've just got one. So this is where then, okay, I can see all these sources on the network, and I want to pick one. So I'm going to pick my BirdDog Studio, and that's going to show my multi-viewer that I have on my BirdDog Multi-Viewer Pro output. The fallback source is if, for example, you're using a program out, but then the program output is going to stop. you need it to fall back to like a commercial or to a loop or to another set of cameras or something else, you can set the fallback address there. So that is what it will always show when the primary source is not being shown. Now, we have a bug that's entered for this where the fallback source seems to come and go. And so we're fixing that, and that will be fixed in a future firmware update. And then I've already used these buttons. When I hit apply, that actually applies the changes that I've made. And then you should see within 30 seconds the changes happening on the screen. Now, you might say, wait a minute. We're going to see the changes in 30 seconds? Yes. These devices are decoders. They're not video switchers. And I'm going to end with this, okay? They are not video switchers. I'm going to end this portion of the Web UI overview. They're not video switchers. They're decoders, which means they're expecting a single source to be coming to them at all times. And for you to be doing the video switching on that source, like in vMix or in TriCaster or in Central, BirdDog Central has a routing option. You can even do it for free on NDI Router. Okay, and then you put the router output here on the list, and then you switch your sources on the router if that's what you want. And you can automate all that stuff and do a whole bunch of cool stuff with router. But this is not a thing where you're going to be like, now over to camera 3, and then you're going to pull up camera 3 and switch it here. That's not what this is. This is not a video switcher. This is a video decoder. It's an NDI decoder, and so it's expecting it to have one single NDI stream all the time. It's not expecting you to be changing streams and switching them over. If you do that, it's going to take 30 seconds, 40 seconds to stop the stream, to dump all that information, to acquire the new stream, to start decoding it, to start unpacking all of those packets, to get it on the screen. It's going to take some time to do that. They're not video switchers. They're NDI decoders. That's what they are, okay? Okay, so now I just want to show you the last thing is basically this guy in action. And I'm using a camera that's, there's no light over there, so I'm just going to show this to you briefly. But this is that actual play, the play that we were looking at, okay? This one, play 1, is this one on the screen. And so when I cut, you can see it's changing, right? You can see that on the screen. You can see me switching back and forth between the two. You can also see the clock is running in real time. You can see I have audio bars. That's actually out of Multiviewer Pro, which is maybe something we should cover next time. But I've got Multiviewer Pro, and it's sending me that stuff, and that is the output. So that's how I know. At the bottom there, you see my little head there above the camera. So I'm using that kind of like a like a bit of a confidence monitor type of idea, but I can look in the lens, but I can see that I'm centered in the shot. But then when I cut or I move over or do whatever, it shows it on that screen. That is a BirdDog play, and the play works wonderfully in this scenario, okay? As a confidence monitor, as a showing an output of a production in like a hallway or for signage or for something like that, the play really shines there. People put them up against the Flex, okay? And full disclosure, Play and Flex are two completely different decoders. They're both BirdDogs, but Flex Out and Play are different entirely. They're completely different boards. They're completely different brains. They're different hardware. They're different heat management, everything. Everything about them is different. Okay, so don't pit them one against the other because you're 100% going to see different results. People say, well, like, what is the difference? It's like the Play is going to be slower because its primary function is decode audio as inexpensively as, or decode NDI as inexpensively as possible. And it gives you the flexibility of doing HX, but not at the full NDI standard when it comes to decode, okay? So there is that little nugget. Now, there are lots of conversations happening around Play, okay? And there's some cool things that I know are planned for the future of this product that I'm not allowed to disclose on this show. But some cool things, some innovations that are happening with engineering that is really going to propel Play into a stratosphere for the AV industry in particular. That's going to be great. So I'm really excited about it. It's a great little product. If you set it up and you're using it in this sort of scenario, it works really well. And I really enjoy it. I think there's great potential here. So, all right, I'm going to go back to the chat, and we'll take some questions. All right, and the recording is over. So let me see what's going on in the chat now because we've got, oh, and I want to pull up our heat map. Where are you hailing from? There we go. There we go. All right, so, hey, if you're just joining us mid-show, I have a little QR code that's here above me, and if you scan that, you can pick where you're watching from, and then I can show that on the stinking screen. And so here's where everybody's from so far. And if you want to see your dot appear, punch in your country and then put in your city, closest major city. And that will appear there in real time. So that's pretty neat, if I say so myself.
That's pretty neat.
All right, so let me jump into the chat. And I did see a few things happening there while we were talking. Is that somebody in Perth? Is that where that is? On the other side of Australia? That's pretty cool. Oh, there's my friend from Johannesburg. He did check in Africa. Very cool. South Africa. Okay. So what's been done about the stuttering issue? I'm having it on multiple plays, regardless of resolution or source, different NDI encoders. I've already tried version 18 firmware. Support says that it's a known issue. So yes, on play, so there's an optimization issue with the current play that we're trying to sort out in terms of people seeing stuttering. Now, for the record, my play is not stuttering. Now, I'm running on 20, but 20 was really just an API update. There's nothing different from 18 than 20. But I'm running on a very similar one, and it's not doing it for me. And so that's where it gets kind of hairy. But like I said in the recording, I promise you it is well documented, and they're working with the manufacturer to actually sort out what might actually be happening. And so that is on the horizon, I'm going to say. It's on the horizon to be corrected, and you can have confidence in that. Hey, what's going on, Judson? Sound Church. Hey, Judson, there was somebody that I think I sent over to you. I think his name was Matt. But anyways, he was looking for some assistance with he needed some technical assistance with NDI and his network and a bunch of things. So I don't know if he reached out to you or not. But anyways, I did send somebody over your way for some consultation work. What's going on, GoWeb? Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. Thanks for checking in. You haven't checked in from India yet, though, I see. So go ahead and scan that QR code. I need to see your little dot over there in India. Hey, does it come with a remote, or can you add a Bluetooth mouse? No Bluetooth on board, and it does not come with a remote, but it does do universal remote stuff. And so for various TVs, now we found out that a lot of TVs do their own proprietary CEC stuff, which is really annoying. So when you do the universal CEC and everybody deviates from it, it's really annoying. So maybe double check with your TV manufacturer to see about that. But it does CEC, and it should use the TV's remote to actually do that. Or you can use like a universal remote as well. Now, allegedly there are remotes for these devices. They were supposed to be accessories, but we never sold them. And so there's only a couple of them in the wild. And I've asked to see if there's a way that we could get those and just even to test the CEC function, but I haven't heard back from that yet. So, hey, there's more people checking in. That's fun. Assigning a Windows machine in the gateway is a wonderful little trick to help with discovery issues in my experience. It's very handy. It is very handy. People sometimes, look at me a little bit strange when I tell them to do that, but I promise you it actually works. So, hey, it looks like GoWeb checked in. What's going on, GoWeb? Would temperature affect stuttering on the plays? Yes, temperature would affect stuttering on the plays. If the unit is overheating or in a hot environment or something like that, yes, it could definitely be an issue. And so if you could do a little heat management on that just to test it out and see how that goes, then you might get better performance for sure. Yeah, we're working together. Thank you. How did you get the OSD to work? I have tried it, but it's never shown a menu. I have 2 play units. So it works on our LG TV, but we have multiple Samsungs which allegedly don't have, they do a different proprietary like CEC command. And so we're working to try and figure out what that is and get that into the next firmware. But Samsung's, the LG works, but the Sony didn't. I'm trying to remember. But yeah, it's been like one of those discoveries where like, yep, we talk the CEC universal language. It's like saying, yep, we talk Visca IP, and then come to find out there's Sony Visca IP, Panasonic Visca IP, Visca IP. There's all these like different variants. And so that's been an extreme frustration, especially post-launch, to find all that stuff out. So, yeah, it's been annoying, to say the least. But, we're working through it. We'll have to make that happen. Hey, check in on the where are you from, and you'll show up on my little heat map. We're going to continue to do that. But before I go any further, it is time for the legendary Snacks on Stream.
John's just making up stuff to start drama.
Look, I don't know.
Look at him.
Wish me luck, folks. It's my first Vegemite experience.
Final, this is like cheese flavor or something. It doesn't really look too appetizing.
Good golly, this is something else, man.
Here's the thing about Pop Rocks, and I don't know if I'm the only one like this. Pop Rocks have always been a social experience for me.
I did not think that is what you were going to say. That's hilarious.
That is awful. Oh, gosh, that's so bad. Jeez. Holy smokes, man.
That was the legendary Vegemite episode. Shout out to my Australians who have checked in here on this show. That was a doozy of a night. And that was 1 a.m. that I was doing. That was like 1:30 in the morning. I was eating Vegemite. And I thought I had done my due diligence and had understood how it was supposed to be eaten. But then, of course, when we watched it the next day in the office, because I was visiting the Australians, they said, no, you're supposed to like scrape it over toast and butter. And I thought, well, where was that information? You just gave me a jar of Vegemite. And you're like, enjoy. So I said, how do you eat this? And they said, on bread. So BirdDog Phil went to the store for me, generously bought me 4 loaves of like rolls, buns, beautiful bread. And I was like, sweet, I'm really looking forward to this. And then I ate it, and that was a doozy. So anyways, it is time for Snacks on Stream. And today, my overhead camera might serve me well for this. And today we are going to try these. These appeared in my office. I'm not 100% sure who entirely got me these, but these are the fiery habanero spicy and smoky beef sticks. So I've been eating like a whole lot more like protein these days, and so the guys obviously caught on to that. And this is some beef jerky, and this is a snack stick, and so pretty excited about that. Seems to be pretty low sugar content. And, yeah, let's get on with that. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be a good one. And I'm happy to answer your questions in general while we continue in the chat. But feel free to also jump on my heat map. And that's what that little thing right up here. Oh, that's what my little QR code is for. Does the QR code work for everybody? Like, can you scan it with your phone real quick and check in? Does that work? Because here's that heat map. Wow, we got a lot of people over in the U.S. now. Oh, look at that. That peeled nicely. So, going to give the old sniff test here. Ooh, it smells really good. Now, this is habanero, so I'm expecting to get hurt a little bit while eating this, but it smells good. It smells a little spicy. So, here we go. Now, the question will be, is this American spicy? Right? That's always what I say. It's like, is it American spicy, or is it like spicy Korean ramen spicy? Right? How's a little burn? It's in the back of my throat right now. So I like that. That's good. Man, this is so cool. You guys are checking in from all over the place. Oh, there's somebody else. So yeah, let me know if that QR code is easy enough. Judson says, Vegemite is the best on buttered toast. When you say best, what do you mean by that? Because I couldn't figure out under any scenario where I would think that Vegemite was best of anything. That was really good. I ate that really fast. And This is Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. I don't know where it came from. Best before next year, April 28th. Yowzers. Some preservatives, maybe salt. Anyways, it tastes really good. And the key here, added sugars, is only 1 gram. So that's really good. Now they want to hurt me with this bag of more beef jerky of the same fire. So I'll eat some of it. I might want to see if my guys out in the lobby want to also participate in this. But it's a brand new bag. Oh boy. What is that? Okay, so sugars are a little higher in this. This is 4 grams. Oh, it's molasses. Oh, boy. Oh, and brown sugar. I immediately smelled that. Oh, boy. This is going to be... Oh, my goodness. That's so good. Wow. That is basically like, that's like beef jerky candy. How many servings? There's 2 servings in this container. About 2 servings. Wowzers. That is crazy good. Really good. Not hot at all, though. It's American hot. It's Midwestern hot. We'll put it that way. P.S. My P200 hit the floor. Can't be fixed. I must buy a new one. What's going on live on iPhone? It hit the floor. Oh, there's the heat. You just had to chew on it for a minute. For the record, this is not spicy Korean ramen hot. Okay? Not that hot. But ingredients: beef, water, brown sugar, soybeans, salt, molasses, vinegar, black pepper, natural smoke flavoring, alcohol. That's kind of broad. Habanero peppers, garlic powder, onion powder, red pepper, paprika, cloves, chili powder. Contains soy. Well, yeah, we got that with the soybeans. So, man, it's really good, though. They have a lineup of various actual beef jerkies here. So they've got Truffalo Soldier, Baby Blue Barbecue, Bourbon Franklin, the Voodoo Chili. That sounds hot. Chipotle something or other. Habanero. Is that what this one is? Yeah, this one's the Habanero Escobar. OG Hickory and Victorious B.I.G. So there's that option. Man, this stuff is so good, though. I highly recommend this beef jerky if you're looking for a snack. I'm going to take a look on the Google to find out what this sort of stuff runs. 'Cause I don't even know. These boys dropped it off and they're like, "Here, good luck." I'm not sweating. I'm still talking in coherent sentences, so it's not obviously a straight up habanero. Righteous Felon jerky. Okay, so a 4-pack is $25. Holy smokes. And the bulk bag, which is... The bulk bag is $20, but it is... How big is it? It's 8 ounces? Yeah, okay. This is a 2-ounce bag. All right, that's a 2-ounce bag. So an 8-ounce bag is $20. It's like $17.99 or $15.29 with a reoccurring subscribe and save. This bag Habanero 2-pack. A 2-pack is $20. Wowzers. All right. Well, Amazon may not be the place to buy it, but it is very good. You can also buy a pack of 3 for $20. That would probably be worth it. Anyways, really good. I mean, it's got some. It does have some heat. I'm not dying. You know, it does have a little heat. It's pretty good. No OSD UI. So that may be that the TV CEC commands, the remote control is sending different commands than the ones the play is expecting. That might be what's going on. We don't have a very big pool of confirmed TVs working because we have one here, for example. I don't know which ones they have at HQ, but I know they've been testing it. This was so long ago, I don't know what I said. Mo what? I don't know. You give me contact to repair center. They said, can't fix, too much damage. Was that Holden? They may not have, all the parts and everything. It may be beyond the price to repair. It might be beyond the price of a new camera. You know what I mean? I got the Noah's Ark Giant Pack. Are you the one that supplied this, Frank? Okay, so the Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark. Oh my goodness. The Variety Pack. The Noah's Ark Variety Pack. And now for something completely different. That is quite the pack. Wowzers, $100. How many packs? Where's my... There we go. Looks like 2 of each. So 2, 4, 6... 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 plus, what is that, 6 snack sticks? Oh, here. Noah's Ark, 2 of each, and sticks. Oh. Lemon pepper. Ooh, that sounds good. Turkey jerky. You have to tell me how that is. I've never enjoyed turkey jerky like I do the beef jerky, so... Very impressive. $100, huh? Is it all spicy, or is it like they're like savory? The barbecue one looks like it's more savory than spicy. Very good. The key here is low sugar. Oh, it's gluten-free, as you would think so. Yeah, this one, the brown sugar in this is very obvious. It's very good. I will save some of this for you guys because you should try it. For those of you who want to have something spicy. I don't think it's super spicy, but I do feel a little burn, but that's just me. That's just me. All right. Well, hour and a half. We're almost there. There's a whole bunch of you guys hanging out on the map here. So, man, I love this. I love being able to see where you guys are checking in from, and I really appreciate you playing along. If you want to join, there is a little QR code on the screen that allows you to scan that in with your phone and allows you to pick your country and type in your city, and we put you on the heat map. And if you join, you should see your little dot appear. So there you go. There are no duplicates on the map yet. I don't see any. Let me, it just says 1 of 1, so yeah. But like, there's, closest major city, Detroit. Yeah, it looks like everybody's the same, like in the same, there's just 1 per, which is fine. I don't mind. But yeah, it looks like it's just one per location so far. Pretty cool. There are no duplicates on the map so far. So yeah, that's been cool. I like this a lot. I like the fact that we can get an idea as to who's watching and from where. There's allow you to zoom in closer up on Michigan. So you can select a region if you want to see that. And so if I say edit chart, excuse me, and I think it's under geo, yeah, region, North America. It doesn't give you like Michigan necessarily, you know. And this one, I would just make this the same. But North America, we can look at South America. You guys, where are you at? United States. Oh, look. Detroit. Flint. Who's watching from Flint? Shout out to our friends up in Flint. Somebody punch in Auburn Hills. But like, this is cool. See, Sydney. Wait, is this Sydney, U.S.? Warrenton, Bristol. Again, I hope that these are accurate and not like supposed to, like Paris, Texas. Is this Lubbock? I know who that is. Oh, what's this one? Johannesburg. Oh, you know what it's doing? It's trying to do everything because I'm not looking at the world. That's why. So, because look, Johannesburg would be here. Yeah. So, New Orleans, Lubbock, Louisville. Yeah. Okay, this makes more sense. So, I need to show the whole world in order to see the data accurately. Because it kind of assumes that everyone's see like Sydney, Melbourne. Whereas over here, that's where it was before. Warsaw. This is so stinking cool, man. Whoa, look at that. Look at that heat map. Bristol. I like that you guys are so specific over in the UK because the UK is so crammed, right? Like it's so packed with places. And yeah, it's pretty cool that you guys can be specific and we can show this kind of blown up a little bit. And then, of course, Perth, Melbourne, Sydney. So, I love this. I hope more people watch just so we could have them check in on the map and we could see them, you know? I think that'd be neat. Chart style. Oh, I was trying to do this earlier. It wouldn't let me. There we go. That looks a little more normal. We're spread out all over the place. So, yeah, thanks for playing along, everybody. I guess I could make this full screen again now. So you say view, full screen, and close. Boom. There we go. It's like $3.50 per item for jerky. That is a fantastic deal. It's true. That is a good deal, $3.50. Holden was who you talked to? Yes. Yeah, so it's likely beyond the repair is likely beyond the price of a new one. I wanted to get you this one. Righteous Felon Collection Voodoo Chili Carolina Reaper. Well, I won't say no. Which one is that here? Ooh, teriyaki. I want that one for sure. Oh, they don't sell it in the variety pack, do they? That's interesting. Whoa. Wow, they got a lot of stuff. Okay, so where is it? Certainly they would. The Darth garlic? Oof, garlic. I'll eat things with garlic in them, but garlic and I are just not super friends because I just feel like it's the gift that keeps on giving. And not a big fan of that. Meat sticks. There's a name. There's a nickname you don't want. Ooh, the Nelson Mandela. That sounds good. Oh my goodness. I'd probably eat every single one of these. I would even eat the Carolina Reaper one if you bought it. Why not? Why not? What do I have to lose at this point, right? dignity, pride, they're all gone. So might as well. Might as well. I just added mine. Somebody said, Little Mac. Where are you at, Little Mac? There's the list. That's my little heat map. And hey, why Blackmagic 6K camera not support in PTZ head unit? What now? What's going on, Pixel? Try that again. Louisville. Oh, right on. Well, we can... Louisville, Kentucky. Wait, are you sure? Oh, yeah, there you are. Man, that does not seem south enough to be Louisville. I wish there was a way I could just zoom in, but I'm asking too much from a free service, I promise. But yeah, it's really cool that I feel like this is way more accurate than it was the first time around, right? So, very cool, very cool. This question, why Blackmagic, the 6K camera, is not supported in PTC head unit? This isn't a BirdDog question, right? You're asking about actual Blackmagic cameras. I thought the 6K camera, they put the kibosh on that. Did they not? Didn't they go from 4K and they did 6K and then they're like, never mind, we're going to just do 8K? I don't know. I thought I read that. I could totally be wrong, by the way. Don't worry. Don't freak out. I could totally be wrong, but I don't think that they're pushing their 6K line anymore. Actually, I've been looking at their Blackmagic, those modular cameras, not as a purchase, but I've had a couple of people ask me about them, so I was like doing some research on it. And I like the frame ones, the ones that are like they have a screen on the back, and then you fix a different mount to it. I thought that would be really those. I just want to see one. I want to see kind of what their performance are, what they look like. Yeah, that would be good to know more about the competition. You know what I mean? So, all right, folks, it is 12:32, and so man, I have had a lot of fun. We talked about play today, which was pretty cool. Lots of fun things coming to play, but for the most part, you should know the basics. We covered those today in the show, and I will cut that up and launch that on my site probably tomorrow on the one and only site. Say it with me, birddogjohn.tv. If you would do me a giant favor, go over to birddogjohn.tv and subscribe. We've been growing that channel a fair bit. You can obviously hit the bell notification if you want. Any of the videos that you watch, it's really, if you find them helpful, feel free to hit a thumbs up on that, just because it helps me know people want more of this, or they found it helpful and I should do more of that, or I should do less of that. And so any of that feedback, feel free to comment. I do look at every single comment, and I do try and get back to you if it's a question that you have or something like that. So I do use that avenue to speak back, and it all shows like people have watched and commented, and it shows a little bit of traffic. So if you want to use that platform, as long as you're not being rude or mean or anything, I'll leave your comment up there. I'll even probably reply to it. So I'm using birddogjohn.tv to do more of that. And so these video tutorials, product overviews, all of that stuff that we do here on the show now is getting fed there. And I'm really hopeful that you're finding those useful. Great quick reference guide. If you're in the middle of buying things, you're speccing out a project or whatever, go over to that channel and see if I've got any resources there that you might find helpful. We're putting a lot of stuff up there. And then in addition, we're building out additional training, stuff over the next little while. So look forward to that. I didn't even touch my coffee. I find that when I eat hot things, drinking hot coffee is like equally as painful. But shout out to BirdDog Brayton. He made coffee this morning, and I needed it because I was having kind of my energy level was a little bit low. I just had a really big day yesterday and did some extra. We went out for a walk with the family around the neighborhood and whatever, so that was good. But man, that made me tired. So back at it today, and now I am out tomorrow, and this is why you come to the show. The support office is closed on Monday. Okay, we're open tomorrow. I'm taking tomorrow off to be with my family. We're traveling up to Canada, but the support office is open tomorrow, so Clay and the crew will be here. But Monday we're closed. There's a national holiday on Monday, Juneteenth, and then we're back in session on Tuesday. So we will be back together on Tuesday, heat maps and all, and we will hang out together and have a good time. Bring your questions, bring your queries. I will try and think of something to do on Tuesday. I'm always open to suggestions. I'm always open to suggestions about what we should talk about, what sort of products you want to review, all of that sort of good stuff. So we definitely want to get your feedback on that so that we're providing relevant information for you to use, and hopefully you find things like that helpful. But yeah, thank you everybody for checking in on my little heat map here. That's been a lot of fun to watch you guys come along and hang out with us. I will officially sign off here and say adieu. I just want to follow up with the last few little comments that we had here in the chat that I looked over. Hey, Michael, what's going on? Please compare and contrast the Plays versus TV monitor for Android. Okay, can do. Clay and the Crew is the name of our upcoming BirdDog sponsors band. Please no. That does not sound... Well, anyways, go for it. Apparently, the BirdDog support guys have enough time on their hands to formulate their own band. And our title song is Senseless Scat. It's a banger. Oh, boy. Well, it's officially Thursday afternoon, folks, so we get a little squirrely here in the office, and not just me. It's everybody, evidently. So there you go. All right, folks. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us today. We have had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun. Hopefully you've enjoyed the ride as well. Be sure to check us out every Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 12 right here. BirdDogJohn.tv. 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 And we go every single week, twice a week for at least an hour. In this instance, an hour and a half. And we talk about crazy stuff. We eat some spicy food usually, or some delicious snacks, drink lots of coffee, and just have a good time. Being friendly, making friends, and having a good time online. So thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. The heat map was pretty cool. Thank you for jumping on that. We'll do that again next time. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves. Look after yourselves. Look after each other. And we'll see you next time on Tuesday at 11. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Spoken.